What is up, my crafty friends? My name is Carrie and I want to welcome you to my channel today. Whether it's your first visit or you're a returning subscriber, I want to say welcome, my friend. Y'all, it is time for week 3 of our amazing Cricut giveaway, and I just cannot believe how freaking fast this month has flown by. I've been so busy with wedding plans for my son and his fiance who are getting married on Halloween that y'all, I totally forgot to do anything about a costume for me for the reception. Their reception is going to be a Halloween themed and they're inviting everybody to dress up, and I just have not stopped long enough to think about what I'm going to even do. So if you want to find out what I throw together at the last minute, keep watching this video, and if you enjoy it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up because that would mean the world to me. And y'all, don't forget to listen super careful for the code word. It's going to be somewhere in the video. It could be at the front, the middle, or the end. You've just got to listen carefully. So go ahead and grab your pencil and your piece of paper and write down that word the minute that you hear it. The video is sponsored by Cricut, and so is the giveaway. And I just want to say thank you to them so much for their cooperation and for allowing me to give back to all of my awesome subscribers. I just love doing giveaways, and y'all, this one is a doozy. So be sure to listen carefully. That's enough talking, y'all. Let's start DIYing. Okay, let's open up Design Space and let's look at flowers. So I'm going to type in flowers and make sure I've got 3D checked on the type. I've got this really cool image set, so I'm going to go ahead and insert all 4 of these onto my canvas. I'm going to spread them out and resize them just a little bit, and I'm also going to change the color. I'm going to unlock this one flower because I don't need that other extra part to it, so I'm just going to delete that, and then I'll get all of the colors changed. So for the flowers for our costume today, I'm going to be using the Cricut felt sampler. This is in these really pretty primary colors, and I really like the stiffness of this felt. It is pretty stiff, but it can still have movement to it. So I think when we do our flowers, this is going to be a nice touch. I'm also going to use the strong grip mat today. When you're working with the felt, you want to make sure that your felt is firmly stuck. So if you don't have the strong grip mat, if you've just got the standard grip mat, you really want to rub it on and kind of burnish it in so that your felt doesn't move around when it's cutting. You just really want to burnish that felt in. You want to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so let's head over to our Cricut and start cutting. I ended up finding 2 more flowers, so now I've got a total of 6. So let's hit make it, and the first one we're going to make is our red rose. Now go through your materials and make sure you type in felt. That's going to make sure that you've got the right settings for your pressure and also your speed. We're going to load that in and hit our Cricut button. And now we're going to start cutting. Because it does make several cuts over the same design, it will take a few minutes to cut one flower, so just be aware of that. When this one flower finishes, it's going to automatically move on to the next one, and that's going to be our orange flower. Now, the Cricut does go around several times just to make sure that it's cut through all of the layers, so it may take a couple of minutes to cut one flower. Okay, so let's take it off of our mat. We still have lots of space in there to cut other sizes if we want to. Isn't that cool? I love weeding out the stuff on the mat. Now, when I cut my next flower, I will move over because it will cut into your mat slightly because it's making sure that it gets cut through completely. So when I cut my next flower, I'll just alternate so that this one spot on my mat doesn't get bombarded. Okay, Okay, so now let's start putting our rows together. Now, I will be totally honest, this is only my second one to do. This was the first one that I tried, and y'all, for my first one, I think it turned out absolutely amazing. It was a lot easier than I thought, and I admit I was a little bit intimidated because I didn't want to mess up my felt. But y'all, it was super easy. Now, instinct tells you that you want to start in the middle, but in actuality, you really want to start on this outside piece here. You can use any hot glue that you want to put it together, but I like using the Cool Shot glue gun or any kind of cool temp glue gun because we are going to be rolling this up and our fingers are going to be pretty close to the hot glue. So just be super careful if you're not using a cool glue gun. Start off with just a little dab of glue in the center just to get it started and roll it. Okay, that's how it's going to start. Now you can put your glue anywhere on your petals. But I like to put mine in between the petals just so I know they're not going to be too tight. Okay, and then I'm just going to go in every little petal, I'll place a tiny little dot. And I want to try to make my petals not line up perfectly with each other. I don't want them to be like right on top of each other. I do want to kind of let it have a little bit of movement. And on the bottom, I want to make sure this bottom edge is always flat. Okay, so we're at the end and I've got my two petals and the little round piece here. And y'all watch what happens with this. I'm gonna load my hot glue onto the edge. And that edge is gonna seal up. So now all of the holes that we had are now sealed up. Isn't that pretty? You can also do this with paper if you don't want to use felt. Paper is another great medium to use, but I just like the way the felt looks. You can feel free to bend your petals down just to make it a little more movement, but I think those are so pretty. So I've got 5 more styles of flowers and also some leaves, and I'm going to do all of those in the same manner. Aren't those pretty? The fun thing is, even when our Halloween costume is over, because these are felt, we can reuse these for another project. Now, let me show you a great way to get rid of all of these pesky hot glue strings. Just take a warm blow dryer and hit that with your warm blow dryer, but don't let it sit there too much because it'll melt your glue. But watch this. See? All that hot glue is gone. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for the other 5 flowers, and I'll be back to put it all together. Okay, y'all, here's all of our flowers all put together, and they turned out so cute. I love that they're all different, but they all look great because they're all made out of felt. And how about the leaves? They all blend so well together. I absolutely love how they turned out. Now I'm going to take one of my roses that I made. I decided to use the red one, and all I did was simply take some 1/4 inch ribbon that was in my stash and put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of that, and that's going to make an adorable choker. The great thing is you can tie this as long or as short as you want it to be. I decided to make mine pretty long so that I could have like a pretty little bow hanging down the back. Now I also took this same concept and hot glued 2 of my flowers along with some of the little leaves here to the back. This is going to be a pretty little corsage. Isn't that cute? Next, I took some more 3-inch ribbon and I cut this super long too so I can tie this as a belt. I want a pretty bow to hang down the back, so that's why we've got so much ribbon. And all I did was hot glue these onto my ribbon, and this is going to be my belt. I should probably put a little dab of hot glue on here just to hold this down. But y'all, isn't that cute? I would honestly wear this belt even after Halloween because I think it's absolutely adorable. Now, the great thing, like I said earlier when I was making the flowers, because these are felt, all you've got to do is to warm this up with your blow dryer. If you want to use these felt flowers for another project, the felt stands up really well, and all you've got to do is to take this off and reuse them on another project. Isn't that a great idea? So these do not just have to be for your Halloween costume. I love these felt flowers. Next, I'm going to make my skeleton for the actual costume itself. So I'm going to go into projects and I'm going to type in skeleton and just see what pops up. That's one thing I love about Cricut Design Space. They have so many ready-made projects, and looky there, we've got a skeleton sweatshirt that is already designed for us. All we've got to do is customize it to be the size that we need, and all of the work is already done for us. This makes everything so much easier. Now, I don't need this line going down the front here, so I'm just going to get rid of that on my rib cage as well as on my pelvis. So I'll just click the line and right click and hit delete. This part was so easy. Having this already made in Cricut Design Space saved me a ton of time. Okay, now that both of those are gone, we are ready to make it. Now, because we are working with iron-on vinyl or our everyday iron-on vinyl from Cricut, we are going to need to mirror this. See the little triangular box here? It says make sure you mirror and that your iron-on material is shiny side down. So once we have that, we're going to load it into our Cricut and off we go. So I've got a pair of black leggings that I pulled out of my closet, as well as a black t-shirt. And y'all, this is what we're going to iron our bones onto. This is going to be a really quick project, and you're not going to believe how easy it is. Now, I have gone online and looked at my Cricut heat press guide, and because I have 100% cotton, it tells me that I need to press it for 5 seconds to preheat it, and then I'm going to press for 30 seconds at 315 degrees. After this 30 seconds is done, I need to flip the garment inside out and press for another 15 seconds. Okay, so let's get started pressing, y'all. So the first thing I'm going to do is just to lay my sleeve out flat. And then we're going to press for 5 seconds just to get all of the wrinkles out. The next thing I'm going to do is to place my bone right on my shirt here. And now we're ready to press it again. We do need to use light pressure, so we don't have to press anything. We're just going to let it sit here until our clock counts all the way down. This is going to be a cold peel, so we'll just move on to our next bone, and then we'll let this one cool before we move on to peel off the page. Before we peel off that tape. I'm going to wait and press the inside after I've got my entire shirt done. That way I can do it in one step. Okay, so now we're just going to attach our next bone on. And I'm just going to leave that little bit of space right there. We're going to go for another 30 seconds. Okay, we're going to give this side just a few more seconds to cool off because it is still hot. And then we're going to move on to the other sleeve, and then we'll press the rest of our pieces on the front of our shirt, and then we'll go back and do our leggings. So for the mask, I just went into Cricut Design Space and typed in Sugar Skull, and I found this really pretty skull here. It did not have the hair though, and for that I just typed in paisley, and I put a bunch of paisleys together and welded those pieces together to make the hair. Now I will put a link to this design if you want to make your own. So for the mask, I'm going to use this craft board. This is the sampler pack, and you've got white, natural, and black. And I've gone ahead and loaded onto my standard grip mats a piece of black and a piece of white because I'm going to make my mask have a hairdo. She's going to be super, super cute. And the mask we're going to do out of the white. So let's head over to the Cricut and load it in. Our skull is going to be a cut and a draw, but we need to make sure that we have the material set to the proper settings. So we want to click on a custom setting on our dial. Then we're going to go browse all materials. I'm going to type in craft board. And once we click craft board, that's going to make sure that it's got the proper speed and depth and all of that good stuff. Now, we also need to make sure that we've got our pen loaded in the A clamp so that it can draw as well as cut. Once we've got all that done, we'll hit our load button and then our flashing Cricut button, and our machine is going to start doing its work. I absolutely love sitting around and watching this machine work. It just makes my heart happy knowing I don't have to do this. When it's all done, we're going to hit the unload button, and y'all look how amazing this looks. Next up, we're going to cut our hair, and this is going to use the same craft board setting. So once we get our materials loaded into the Cricut, all we've got to do is to hit that flashing Cricut button, and it's going to start cutting. Okay, y'all, so I've got my hair and my mask all cut out and weeded, and y'all, this is going to look so cool. Wait until I show you what I've got planned. So I just want to take my scissors and right on this edge here, just cut back a little bit. I want my hair to overlap where my mask is. And I'm going to do the same thing right here. And honestly, I'm sure there's some way to make this happen in Cricut Design Space, but y'all know I'm a total newbie, so I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. So if you know how to do that, be sure to drop me a comment down below and let me know, because I'm learning as I go. So I need to cut up just a little bit more. So that my hair fits my skull. Isn't that fun? I think it's so stinking cute. I may even bring her this little part of her hair around too, just so that she's got a little pin curl around to the side. You can use any markers to color in your mask. You could use your Cricut markers. You could use just regular magic markers, but I'm going to be using my real brush pens today. And if you've never used these, I highly recommend them. I'll put a link in the card above so you can check out my last tutorial to see how much fun they are. So let's get started. Okay, I wanted to show you a couple of different hairstyles that you can do for your sugar skull. So I actually took my scissors and cut just a little piece off of this side. So I've got this one, and this one that I cut with my scissors. So you can make your little sugar skull have this sort of bouffant hairdo like this, or you can make her have sort of one like this, and you can come back in and put in some flowers. That sort of gives it like a little side swept do. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. And tuck it in to the side. So this side of the cut actually ends up right there at my black line. So I really think this is the look that I'm gonna go with. And then I'm gonna come back in, maybe just put her one little flower. In her hair. I think that's pretty cute. So now we'll just glue it all down. So cute. Okay, so now I just want to attach my little dowel here, and this is just a dowel that I had left over. You could also use a paint stick or anything else that you've got that is just laying around your house. And I'm just gonna hot glue this down. So adorable and so easy. So I have this white tutu that was part of my Halloween costume from last year, and I wanted to bring in just a little bit of color, but I didn't want to have to go out and buy anything else to add to it. So I remembered I had a lot of this 3-inch ribbon from when I used to make bows, and I just cut it into little strips that are thinner because this wouldn't look very cute. And y'all, I just hot glued those strips in the inside of my tutu. Isn't that cute? This is gonna look so stinking cute with our sugar skull. I also took some of those same ribbons that we used on our skirt and just hot glued those to my stick so that my stick for my mask would have some color to it. Isn't that cute? I love her. Okay, y'all, here's our finished costume, and is it not the cutest thing you've ever seen? It would be super adorable to make these into a couple's costume as well, just by eliminating the flowers. I love this costume. It was super quick and easy to put together, and it hardly cost me anything at all because I used things that I already had laying around my house. It's time for code word for week number 3, and that code word is you. Y-O-U. That does it for today's video, y'all. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up because that would mean the world to me. And don't forget to let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about my costume? I know it was last minute and it was totally thrown together, but I love how it came out, and I even love it even more because it hardly cost me anything at all to make. So don't forget, listen for the code word and be sure to write it down, and then go visit the link down below so that you can enter that code word into the giveaway. Till next time, happy DIYing, y'all.